against Trump's rhetoric and pointed to their economic platform focused on middle-class support, still expect ideological contrast to remain a major talking point on the campaign trail ahead. Crackdown on AI chip smuggling to China, Taiwan expands its probe. It has detained an NVIDIA employee as part of a growing investigation into the smuggling of AI servers with restricted U.S. chips into China. Authorities searched the employee's home and workspace in Taiwan last week before detaining the suspect on Tuesday, identified only by the surname Chung. Prosecutors say Chung is being held on forgery and breach of trust allegations, saying he could tamper with evidence or coordinate with others in the case. The case centers on Supermicro AI servers equipped with NVIDIA chips that are subject to U.S. export controls. Washington has banned exports of those advanced AI chips to China since 2022, citing national security concerns that the technology could aid Beijing's military. Taiwanese prosecutors say this is the third round of raids in the investigation. It follows arrests in recent months involving employees from Supermicro Computer and others accused of falsifying documents to smuggle servers to China. The investigation comes as Taiwan steps up efforts to prevent sensitive technology from being diverted to China amid a broader crackdown on AI chip smuggling networks.
A U.S. Navy air
The ruling comes as Britain seeks closer economic ties with China, despite ongoing security concerns. Tensions escalating in the South China Sea, Beijing has deployed guided missile frigates and combat jets to conduct aggressive patrols near Scarborough Shoal. It comes just days after a violent clash injured Philippine sailors in contested waters.
Chinese state media released footage showing off warships and fighter jets in the region. China's Coast Guard says it has also stepped up law enforcement patrols. Beijing says the patrols are aimed at protecting what it calls its sovereignty, but the waters are also claimed by the Philippines. A 2016 international arbitration ruling found no legal basis for China's sweeping claims in the South China Sea, but China rejected that ruling. This show of force comes on the heels of a hostile incident where Chinese personnel attacked Philippine Navy troops with wooden batons and blasted vessels with high-pressure water cannons. Washington is firing back. Secretary of State Marco Rubio criticized Beijing's actions, reaffirming that Washington stands firmly by its treaty ally, the Philippines. A U.S. Navy aircraft carrier strike group has also arrived in the region to reinforce a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Meanwhile, Beijing is increasing pressure on Taiwan, expanding its reach beyond the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan is condemning China's latest Coast Guard patrols off its eastern coast. Taiwan says the patrol is a political operation designed to undermine regional stability and challenge its sovereignty. Taiwanese officials have dispatched their own vessels to monitor the Chinese ships. To discuss the conflicts between China and the Philippines, we spoke with Rick Fischer, Senior Fellow at the International Assessment and Strategy Center. Rick Fischer, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Tiffany, thanks for having me back.
So the latest with the tensions around the Philippines, Beijing has deployed JL-10 jets and a Type O-54B frigate. What do these tell you about the type of operation and message that China is sending?
China is showing the Philippines and the world that it can send second-tier platforms to enforce its illegal claim to Scarborough Shoal, which, if they get away with it, Tiffany, will cement China's control of the South China Sea and its chokehold over the Asian maritime commercial arteries.
And all of this just comes days after that violent clash that injured Philippine sailors, and the USS George Washington had sailed through the area as well. What do you make of the timing here of China's operations?
Well, yes, the United States has deployed significant force to the South China Sea, luckily, to just follow the Chinese aggression against the Philippines around Second Thomas Shoal in the first week of the month. Unfortunately, the United States has been undertaking this kind of top tier force signaling to China for probably close to 2 decades. And it has not resulted in convincing China to stop its incremental aggression against the Philippines and, for that matter, Taiwan. As a consequence, the United States is beginning to take a new tack. In the last week, the United States has announced that it is going to help the Philippines build a new pier on the island of Palawan, which is on the front line of the contest over Second Thomas Shoal in the southern part of the South China Sea. The United States has not yet taken an active response to Chinese aggression against Scarborough Shoal in the north. Both are necessary because if China takes control of both locations, that will complete its control of the South China Sea. I'm very interested in seeing where the Coast Guard cooperation with Philippines leads. Essentially, we're going to have to start bumping the Chinese ships. We're going to have to be physically pushing them out of the way in order to make our point. Yes, that's an escalation. It could lead to gunfire, but the United States is more than capable of being patient in that sense and simply amassing the ships necessary to push the Chinese aggressive Coast Guard out of the way.
So that would be the escalate to de-escalate, as some like to say, it sounds like. And then given that the U.S. and the Philippines are mutual defense treaty allies, where if, the Philippines is attacked, we would have to respond. How fragile or is this area?
Well, it is on the knife edge. The Chinese are very serious. They want to control the South China Sea in order to protect their nuclear ballistic missile submarines, their second strike capability. They want to protect their aircraft carriers. They're going to be basing many of them on Hainan Island. And they also want to protect their space access from Hainan Island. They have a major space base, and that is the one that they will use to go to the moon, to go to Mars, to try to dominate the Earth-Moon system. So China has great incentives for controlling the South China Sea and conducting this current aggression against the Philippines. The United States, however, has every interest in stopping this aggression from succeeding and in containing all the force that China is putting on Hainan Island, which is not about the defense of China, it's about the domination of the world and then the Earth-Moon system.
Who says you can't stay active while working? The Urivo CyberPad, I can do both. It's compact but gives you...
这就是这张照片。那日本会不会提供武器给美国，或者说他们共同使用武器呢？或者日本造出武器来给美国用呢？这我们要计算。然后欧洲当然离得比较远，欧洲现在绑在这个乌克兰战争当中很辛苦。但是万一欧洲真的也插手来一下子，他不要说帮忙武器了，他的帮忙金融啊，帮忙什么制裁啦，帮忙什么等等的，我就受不了了。所以这些呢，他都必须去算。那最后底线就是，如果台湾真的没有任何的外援，美国也不来，日本也不来，欧洲不来，大家都不来帮忙，我有没有把握一定可以打得赢台湾，一定吃得下台湾？我们都知道台湾是刺猬之岛。虽然我中共在台湾里面弄了很多内应，做了很多分化，但万一真的我有什么样没算到，台湾真的有反击能力的话，我受不受得了？所以这是他要去算的东西。那我们过去讲过，美国对台海战争它的这个计算是这样的：第一呢，我要嚇阻成功；第二呢，如果嚇阻失败，我要战胜，没有第三条路了。这话我们之前就讲过。后来我讲完之后呢，美国前任太平洋司令阿基利诺在这个国会里面作证，讲的就这两点：第一，我要这个嚇阻成功；第二，嚇阻失败的话，我要战胜，没有第三条路。那么也就是说，美国对于嚇阻这件事情呢，或者嚇阻中共打台湾，嚇阻中共对台湾动武这件事情也是蛮认真的。所以我一直讲，我说美国大家不要太小看它，因为它有它的计算。好，那现在你刚刚有一个画面，我们等一下可以再看一下。 AIT 发布的这张照片，就是美国的海巡跟台湾的海巡，然后我们美国的海防跟台湾的海巡呢，就是这张照片，共同在这边这个并行。这张照片传递的讯息很有趣啊。第一是 AIT 发布的，不是美国政府那边发布的，也不是战争部发布的，也不是国务院发布的，是 AIT 发布的。第二，它发布的什么呢？是海巡，它不是海军，所以那个强度还低一点点，但是讯号是非常明确的。我们现在并行，将来有需要我们会来。那你不管你相不相信，我现在先告诉你了。好了，那除了之外呢，英国、法国、德国不是针对这个中共的船在我们东北角这边闹事情啊，他们发布了联合警告吗？所以中国现在算说，如果这些因素对我都不利的话，那我怎么办？所以他现在推出什么核战选择，直接对台湾推，你要和平还是要战争？直接问这件事情。那为什么这样做呢？因为他希望说不战而取台。那为什么希望不战而取台呢？因为他没有把握打赢。那为什么要取台呢？不是单纯取台。明年呢，习近平要开21大，他没有把握一定能够连任，他必须要有政绩。现在我用核战两手下台湾，只要下到台湾愿意坐下来认真跟我谈统一问题的时候，我已经得分了。所以现在我们要干什么呢？第一，加强跟国际的联系；第二，加强内部团结；第三呢，台湾内部的朋友们，你要想清楚，你到底是在帮中华民国，还是在帮中华人民共和国？在